The mission of Conquer Paralysis Now is very simple, and that is to cure paralysis. This is a problem that can't be solved just by a few people. It has to be solved by many people. And so we embarked upon a journey a couple of years ago, and we thought that we would look at the problem of paralysis and research in general and take a different approach. We have worked very diligently to put a whole program together where we will have researchers collaborate with one another. Now, cures might mean different things to different people, but this project is about all the millions of people around the world.
The challenge has the goal to provide clinically significant functional improvements to patients suffering from spinal cord injury. And a very important focus of the challenge is to chronic tetraplegic patients, meaning to patients that have had their injury more than 6 months ago and who have both upper limbs and lower limbs affected by the injury. The ultimate goal is to provide them with functional recovery of grasping and reaching functionality, the ability to walk, voluntary bladder-bowel control, which is rated to be the most important function by spinal cord injured patients because it actually allows you to contribute to society if you don't have to worry about that. Voluntary sexual function, voluntary respiration, and voluntary trunk control.
In this country, there are about 6 million people who have some type of paralysis, and there are about 1,700,000 who are spinal cord injured. Well, if you multiply that by all the countries in the world, we have millions upon millions of people. We've decided to follow some of the examples that individuals and companies have done in the past. For instance, back in the 1700s, the British lost an entire fleet in the North Atlantic because they didn't know how to measure longitude. So the British government decided to offer a prize. Well, everyone thought Sir Isaac Newton would win this prize, and it wasn't Sir Isaac Newton at all. It was a clockmaker. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to find that clockmaker. We're trying to start an industry.
The core of the entire project and the entire program are 3 stages. On stage 1, we will give them grants. We will give them initial funding money such that they can generate initial data. And that is very, very important because there is little money for, or almost no money for high-risk, high-reward research. There's money for incremental, but not for high-risk, high-reward. So we give you initially money, you can generate initial data, and with this data you can run to the NIH, to the NSF, to your local country's funding agency and say, hey, it was a really high-risk idea, but here's the initial data to back it up. Now I need more money to pursue my research. So now that we have sort of provided a first stepping stone, we will go into stage 2. In stage 2, we don't give the researchers money up front so that they can perform the research. That's what they'll get from the government. We will use a pull mechanism. We will give them money and say, when you've reached the following milestone, then you can get $500,000. And milestones are in these areas that we mentioned earlier: reaching, grasping, walking, respiration, etc. And these $500,000 are yet another stepping stone for researchers to reach the ultimate goal, to provide real functional recovery. And this real functional recovery in stage 3 will be rewarded with $10 million prize, which is pretty awesome.
We feel that if we encourage researchers to collaborate, that it will move the science further along at a much faster pace. And one of the things that we've decided to do was to offer rewards for them to post the research that they've done that hasn't exactly turned out the way they thought it might. And this is totally against what usually happens. Universities and labs only like to publish positive results. The challenge program is going to work, and we are going to conquer paralysis.
I'm convinced. I've put 3 years of my life in this, and honestly, when I first started with it, I was like, really? And then I've talked to a lot of people, a lot of researchers around the world, and aggregated data and information. This program can do it.
In order to accomplish what we're set out to accomplish, we need your help. Foundations and corporations can't fund this entire project. It has to be funded by people like you who believe in our cause, who believe in philanthropy, who want to make a difference in the world. Wouldn't you feel wonderful if you knew someone who was spinal cord injured and they couldn't move their arms, and you were responsible for having them reach out and hug their children, hug their spouse, hug their loved ones? That would make you feel wonderful. Join us in our quest to conquer paralysis.